You know, the interesting thing about anti-Semitism is, as my late friend Jonathan Sachs said, it's a shape-shifting virus. It moves across the centuries. When you could hate people for their religion, the Jews were hated for their religion. Then you couldn't hate people for that anymore, so people hated the Jews for their race. And then after the 20th century, people realized that wasn't such a great idea either. Now the Jews are hated not for their religion or their race, but for having a state. You know, the interesting thing about anti-Semitism is the Jews can never win, because historically they've been hated for being rich and for being poor. They've been hated for integrating and for not integrating. They were hated for being stateless. Remember, rootless cosmopolitans, the far right used to say. And now they're hated for having a state. Now look, if you are interested in this motion, just bear this in mind. It's not about Netanyahu, it's not about this war, it's about double standards. And one question hovers over it above all, the question of who would protect the Jews. Who would you trust to protect them? The Europeans? The Arab world? No. History shows only one people will protect the Jewish people. The Jewish people. That's what Zionism is.
Dear Douglas, for the past 11 months, you've taken up the mantle of legendary journalists like Emile Zola and Mark Twain. You've observed the age-old phenomenon of anti-Semitism, recognizing that it's irrational arguments that have persisted throughout history. You've rightfully pointed out that Jews have been prosecuted regardless of time, place, or circumstance, be it political, economic, social, or religious. But while you're identifying the symptoms, you haven't delved deeply enough into the root cause. You see, the conflict between Jews and the world is not just a product of the last centuries. It's a 4,000 years old struggle that has transcended time and place. Wherever Jews have gone, be it ancient Egypt, Babylon, Greece, Persia, Rome, Europe, or Asia, they've always faced persecution. From the very first Holocaust in Egypt, which we sing about every Passover, to the Jews being hunted in Spain and at the same time in Arab nations. The pattern is clear. You've asked who will protect the Jews and concluded that only the Jews can do so. But you missed the essential question. It's not about who will protect the Jews.
Hi, I am the Accepted. For the past decade, I've devoted myself to studying spirituality and mysticism through Kabbalah teachings and spiritual guidance, realizing how much the world needs enlightenment and understanding of the phenomena occurring around us. I've decided to start posting weekly videos to shed some light on the most recent events.
Mark Twain pondered this when he wrote, "The Jew saw them all, survived them all, and is now what he always was. All things are mortal but the Jews. All other forces pass, but he remains. What is the secret of his immortality?" But even Twain's question misses the mark. It's not about who or what, it's about why. Why the Jews, a tiny fraction of the world population, target of such relentless hatred? Why, despite being 0.2% of the world population, have Jews won over 20% of Nobel Prizes? Why do they persist through everything, year after year, generation after generation, while entire empires fall? This question isn't merely a historical one, it's profoundly spiritual. It has to be deeper than that. The existence of the Jewish people and the world's fixation on them is a testament of something greater than material reality. It's evidence of deeper truth, underlines our very existence. As you said yourself, if they are poor, we hate them for being poor. If they are rich, we hate them for that. If they don't have a country, why do they cling to ours? If they do have a country, how dare they defend themselves? The thing is, dear Douglas, you're just stating the obvious. Just like science, you're dwelling on the what rather on the why. So today, I'm here to reveal the truth behind this mystery. To answer the question never asked. To understand this, however, we need to delve into the concept of light and vessel. Light isn't just the physical light we see, it's the building block of existence. Everything is made from light. Science has even started to catch up with this idea through the discovery of the God particle, something Kabbalah sages discussed over 500 years ago. Life itself is about bringing light into the vessel. The light is the life force, and the vessel is what holds that life. Our bodies are alive when filled with light, and when the vessel is empty of light, it's the state we call death. Keep this concept in mind as we continue. Jews, also known as the children of Israel, have a unique role in this this world. The name Israel was given to Yaakov, the father of Yehuda. You might call them Jacob and Jehuda, but these names hold special significance in Hebrew, the language of the Matrix, and I would like to keep them in their original form. Yehuda is where we Jews inherited our name. Yaakov in Hebrew is central to the story. The name Israel, which he was given as an award after wrestling with the angel of death and winning, reflects Yaakov's ability to connect with the spiritual realm and acts as a bridge between heaven and earth. When Yaakov was connected to his spiritual mission as Israel, no one dared harm him. He brought light to those around him. His presence brought joy, happiness, and fulfillment. When he passed away, even the Egyptians mourned for him for 70 days, as the Torah states, and the Egyptians wept for his 70 days. But when Yaakov was disconnected from his spiritual mission, he faced all sorts of troubles, being cheated, attacked, having his daughter molested, his son kidnapped, and much more. This duality is the key to understanding the Jewish experience. Like Yaakov, the Jewish people have two choices. They can fulfill the role as light bringers, guiding others to a spiritual fulfilling life, or they can become the world's scapegoats. The choice is ours. Historically, when Jews have embraced their mission, the world has flourished. When King Shlomo, also known as Solomon, built the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, he managed to maintain peace with the entire known world. His wisdom, fueled by spiritual light of the temple, was so powerful that it brought harmony to all nations. Evidence of this is found in the fact that Shlomo managed to marry 1,000 wives. How did he manage that? None of his wives argued or complained about another country? No embargoes or taboos? It's because of the building of the Holy Temple, as written, "For my house shall be called a house of prayer to all nations." Today the world is in crisis. People are searching for meaning, for something to fill the void within them. This is why, despite all other issues, the world's eyes are on Israel. Subconsciously, the world knows that from the Jewish people they are meant to receive spiritual light. But when this doesn't happen, frustration and anger arise, leading to hatred. Dear friend, the finger shouldn't be pointed at the world. It's not the world's fault. The blame lies with us, the Jews, the ones who are supposed to bring light to this world, but have failed to do so. This is why we are hated, why no matter where we are or in which area we live in, we are always the target of anger and resentment. We are not fulfilling our purpose. I know that some may argue that this is all nonsense, that people are capable of rational thought and don't have to hate the Jews. But as you pointed out, there is no rational explanation behind this. It defies logic because it's rooted in something deeper, spiritual. So Douglas, now that you understand a little better the role of the Jews, there's still much to be done. Instead of following in the footsteps of others who have simply pointed out the obvious, challenge the Jews to step up to their real mission. Ask them to share what they know about what is true love, what is God, what is spirituality, how to change the world. I gotta be honest, they might not know at first. It's been 2,000 years of exile and darkness for our people, but we know where to look. We have the ability to fill the vessels of humanity with light. When we do, the hate will dissipate and peace will prevail, just as it did when King Shlomo built the first temple. I really hope that this video will shed some light on this matter. If you like the content of this video, tell me what you related in this video. If you have any disagreements, have you learned something new? Or everything I'm saying is completely nonsense? Until the next time, from my very own spiritual guide, stay enlightened.